Okay, so here's the deal. I've done a lot of crazy things in my life, but this right here has got to be one of the craziest. So over the last 18 years, I've bought and sold over 100 properties. And in some cases, some of the worst of the worst. I'm talking hoarder houses, condemned houses, and even drug houses. But one thing I've never done is pick up and move an over 100-year-old structure, until now. So you're probably asking, Jose, why would you want to pick up and move an old, dilapidated structure? And that, my friends, is a fair question. Here's my answer. My wife and I own this incredible vintage resort right outside of Tallahassee, Florida, in a small, quaint town called Havana. On property, we have 8 structures. 5 of the 8 were actually moved onto the grounds from the surrounding area. We have an old honky-tonk bar, an old post office, even an old beauty shop. But as a wedding and event venue, there was one thing that we were missing, and that is an old church. So for the last 2 years, we've been looking for one. We knew whatever church we moved had to be special. So in addition to a variety of other factors, there were a few must-haves. So number 1, it had to be from the late 1800s or early 1900s to really match the vibe here at HS. Number 2, it had to be an authentic church, at some point in its lifespan, used for a place of worship. And number 3, it had to be a wood frame. It's easier to move and easier for us to work on. And after a long search, we finally found the one. So as you can imagine, moving any structure is a tremendous undertaking, both physically and financially. So the first thing we had to do was call a house moving company. And yes, house moving companies actually exist. I told them the plan, they met me at the church, went under the structure to verify that it was okay to move, and then we ran the route to make sure there weren't going to be any obstacles that we couldn't overcome from point A to its final home. So after we received the okay from them, it was time to work on the administrative side of things. So I had to work closely with the county, told them what we wanted to do, and after several weeks, we finally received the approval. It was time to make it happen. So the day of the move is here. We're all excited, the adrenaline is pumping, and we're ready to get things rolling. The house movers showed up, and these guys were ready to work. They unloaded this huge machinery. They started to pull out all of the shrubs and weeds from around the property, even move the old concrete stairs. But after that, the fun really began. They started to unload and set up these big, incredible hydraulic jacks. They put one on the left, one on the right, one on the back, and one on the front. And after 4 hours of preparation, it was time to raise the roof. Okay, bad dad joke, but with the turn of the hand, they were able to lift the structure with ease. Right after, they backed in this long flatbed trailer, set some beams, and began lowering the structure. Now it was time to hit the streets and get the church to its new home. But wait, the house mover wanted to run the route one last time to ensure all was well and they weren't going to encounter any problems. A few minutes later, he returned and said, Jose, we have a problem. So I began to panic, but the house mover assured me we could get this done. Now there was good news and then there was bad news. The good news was the issue could be fixed, but the bad news was it couldn't be done that day. The beams that they set on top of the trailer were a little bit too long and wouldn't cross over a bridge that was needed to pass in order to get to it. It was definitely a bummer, but we knew we only had one shot to do it, and we wanted to do it right and not take any chances. So the second move day is here, and we're even more excited. The house mover showed up, we set the building, cut the beams, and even ran the route to make sure all was well. After receiving the okay, it was time to move the church. After an hour of ducking power lines, crazy looks from neighbors, raising tree limbs, and even slowing down traffic, the church has made it to its new home. So we're gonna be documenting the entire process. And if you're into this type of content or anything real estate or entrepreneurship related, I invite you to subscribe and come along for the journey. So that's all I've got for you now. We're gonna get busy working on this church, and we'll see you on the next one.